So welcome to the stream, everyone. My name is, this is an update. We did a stream back in,
It was end of March.
it was in March, and Tom and I did this stream on Atlas Search before, and since that time, Atlas Search has gone GA and all the operators have changed. So to make sure we don't say any bad things, we have Marcus Eagan on the call with us. Say hi, Marcus. And
Hi, everybody.
let me move here. So my name's Karen Huaulmé. I'm principal developer advocate here. Tom he's a solution architect here, but he's also my kid. And last year I exploited his downtime to get him to write a front-end application, which is why he did the stream with me last time. And since then, you got to drive over. So, and Marcus, you did good. That was a good stream.
Thanks for the introduction.
I'm so proud of him. And Marcus, I'm very proud of too. Marcus is new to the team. I was on vacation recently, and I think you started off on vacation. So Marcus, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how happy you are to be working with the two of us? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of MongoDB, and I have been working with Lucene-based technologies for the past years. I contribute to Lucene and Solar, and built the company with MongoDB and Elasticsearch. There was no Atlas Search, and now that there's Atlas Search, I can build another company with just Atlas Search and MongoDB.
So actually, that's like one of the cases that we're going to talk about today. So it is much easier now that we do all that stuff. So we'll talk about. So Marcus, he has all this expertise in Lucene, and I'm just a developer who just finds it really cool to use. But if you did before this came along and you had to search for things inside of MongoDB, you might have had to do like regex operators or dollar text or things like that to look for it, and it was kind of uncomfortable, and you had to write a lot of corner cases and do a lot of sorting, and it wasn't straightforward. So Atlas Search is something, but every application, I can't think of any application that doesn't have a search requirement in it, because you want your users to find what they're looking for fastest. So so that's one of the reasons we built Atlas Search. What Marcus was talking about before is what a lot of people did if they weren't using it natively with some of our aggregation operators. They would have MongoDB here and use some sort of Mongo connector to duplicate that data into some system that had either Elasticsearch or Solar. But what that was doing is it was calling Lucene on the other side. So we thought, why don't we just integrate directly with Lucene, bring that directly into MongoDB. The other thing about this is when you have these two systems, you have to be able to not only duplicate that data, you have to be able to scale it, and you have to be able to make it secure. And there's all sorts of headaches. Marcus, we probably know all the headaches that you have to do for that. And then if something breaks, and you have to make sure the data is timely, that it's not delayed when you send it over. So we brought it all together. And all of that stuff you do, securing whatever, inside of MongoDB Atlas, you just hit this button, and that's the only thing you do inside of Atlas to get all of that stuff with Elasticsearch and getting Lucene using right away. Oh, sorry. Oops.
Click.
What?
Yeah.
Click where?
Now it's surrounding everything wrong.
No, click on here.
Jeez.
Sorry. It's so fun streaming with you. Okay, so today we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. It's going to sound really overwhelming, but I promise to make it less. It just sounds like a lot of stuff. But so we're going to show you how to create an index. That's just that button press, so that won't take a lot of time. We'll do the hello world for search. We'll do a basic sort of movie search engine. And then I'll show you along the way, built-in scoring, which is how we measure what documents get returned to you first in the thing, and highlighting so you can find what you're looking for in the correct context. I'll show you how we support autocomplete and fuzzy matching. So when I talked about this earlier on when we launched, we just had support for words and text. Now we have support for data types, numerical, dates, and GeoJSON. So I'll show you how we can query along numerical and dates. And then I'll also show you custom score modifiers. A lot of people have asked since we launched, like, how do you get Well, I'll show you what that is in a second, but it's a way to kind of shape the return of your results so that certain documents get higher scored and therefore surfaced higher than other documents, depending on where you find them in your data or if it's a sponsored search or something like that. So that does sound like a lot, but the way we're going to get through it is we're going to do a lot of demos. So the first demo I'm going to do is a basic movie search engine where you kind of just have a box, and this is actually kind of easy, and I can even give you the code for it. And there's actually a blog on our developer site for this, but I'm writing an update for that blog next week to go with the stream. And then we're going to do a FIFA, we're going to do a soccer search demo using FIFA 2020 or FIFA 20.
FIFA 20, yeah. FIFA using a FIFA 20 data set that I got from Kaggle.
So I'm looking forward to getting that. So let's talk about the movie search engine. So this is the first demo that I'm going to show you. I am writing a blog and I'm giving away some code so you guys can get it, download it, play with it based on what you learned here today. So let's show you. I always go the wrong way. So it's basically this. This is what you'll probably get next week. So we're going to look for a movie. So what we have is we have this sample. Actually, let me show you the sample data set we have here. So if you're in Atlas, Everly, hey, he's back! Yay! I'm glad okay, I'm expecting great things from you. No pressure, Everly. He was on Wednesday. So we have all these 23,000 movie documents, and we're going to search across all these different fields inside of it. So the first thing I'm going to do in this demo is we're going to look for a movie. So maybe you guys might want to say, like, so Marcus, what kind of movie do you want to look for? Do you have one in mind?
Friday.
You want to look for a movie about Friday? Okay, we're not sending Marcus to we're not using his Netflix account. But the first thing I did is I type in Friday, and then you can have autocomplete on here. So I'll show you how to do autocomplete later, but I'll just do a search so we can see. Now you can see that we have all these movies. Who knew that? Oh, Frida came up. Who knew that Friday would have like different types of movies? But you could see like how Friday came up inside of the text and how it's highlighted. So this is what I was talking about, highlighting, where you get to do this sort of. We can't actually do that. Did Everly suggest a movie to look for?
I'm trying.
Everly's from Europe, and he's a big footy fan. So.
Oh, cool! This is a perfect string.
So let's do, I don't know, Frozen Tundra, because he's from Europe. Anyway, so you could see like Frozen and Tundra showing up here inside of the thing. So anyway, so that's one thing. We did werewolves and vampires. I did in a product demo before, I did like summer camp. And so I get all these different movies about summer camp, and they're all different types, and I don't really want to see every type of movie about that. So we can do a faceted search. And so here we can change our search to go across numbers. So I'm going to bring this down to, I don't know, a couple hours. We could have the IMDb rating, make it a comedy. I did this in a product demo, but I'm going to do it again. So let's make it between 1970 and 2000. And then if we filter it, you can see that it changes the results. So I filter out, since I said 2000, I don't get anything from this 1,000-year period. And then I get all these different movies that match the filter. The other thing is, so that was, showed you really quickly, scoring, highlighting, how to do a basic search. So this is just kind of me showing you stuff. Summer camp. The other interesting thing is we're talking about custom score modifiers. So if I wanted to look for like Godfather, I get all these different movies, I was really kind of hoping to get the Godfather movie, and I have to go down here to get the Godfather movie. So the other thing that I'll talk about is how we could use this title boost thing that says if Godfather shows up in Godfather shows up in Godfather shows up inside the title. Oh, I missed that. I thought you were.
Was it making fun of you?
Reflex to assume that Godfather shows up in the title. it'll actually get a higher score. So as opposed to, like right now, it was looking for Godfather in title and plot and full plot. And now if it shows up in title, it'll get a boosted score. And then you can see I get my 3 Godfather movies first. And I don't get movies that happen to have Godfathers, movies about Godfathers. I get the Godfather movies first. So that is the app that we're going to show you. So that's a lot of stuff to do. It's probably a little overwhelming. It's much easier than I thought. Are there any questions so far?
No.
Okay, cool. So the first thing we need to do, actually, let's go. That was the demo. So it's pretty easy to set everything up. You have to have a 4.2 cluster inside of MongoDB Atlas. You can get a 4.2 cluster, at least 4.2. We're up on 4.4 and we're going up higher soon. But you can get these clusters for free. You don't even have to put in your credit card. So just go to cloudmongodb.com and sign up for there. You have to have data on it. If you don't have data, we have sample data that you can download on it. Very easy button to find. You create a search index. So you make sure that all of your fields are searchable or whatever fields you want. And then you can query via the $search operator. So the first 2 are pretty obvious. So today I'm going to show you mostly how to create the search index, which will take a second, and how to query using the $search operator. Now these are the 4 steps you need to do to set up. But these first 3, easy peasy, you do it straight inside the Atlas interface. So I'll go back to that. So here's our data we have. We have 23,000 movie documents. We're going to go across all the fields. I'll just go over to, this is by the way, this is on the collections tab. And I can see all my data here. So I go over to this search indexes tab, create search index. And by default, we map every field dynamically. Marcus, do you want to talk a little bit about mapping and when you would want to map everything dynamically and when you might want to do static mapping, maybe the difference between the two?
Sure. So you want to do dynamic mapping in 2 scenarios primarily. One of those scenarios is where you don't know the schema at all. So when you're defining your index and you don't know what your data is going to look like, and you can create a dynamic mapping because Atlas will handle that and handle the mapping of the fields. The other case is if you just want to get up and running really quickly and don't want to get into configuring a schema search index, you can just use dynamic mapping. Another use for just to bridge dynamic and static mapping, sometimes you want dynamic mappings enabled and some static mappings as well. You know some fields, but you don't know all the fields up front, so you can't configure a complete schema. But static mappings in general are going to give you a few more capabilities and improve performance on a number of queries. So
Tommy,
there are trade-offs.
So Tommy, in our soccer thing, we have how many fields in a soccer?
Oh, we have 50 something, 60?
No, we have like a 90 something.
Oh.
I don't know why I asked him. But like we created, because we wanted to get up and running faster, we just actually, let me go ahead and click this button. We just mapped dynamically, but we don't need all those fields. If we're only looking for soccer players by their name and by where they're from and maybe by their skill set, we're only mapping we only need 5 of those fields. So if you map all of them, that's pretty heavy and it's going to take up a lot of resources. So it is nice, while you're testing and developing, just to map everything dynamically so it goes out. But once you sort of know your use case a little bit more, and it works really well with the sort of our flexible data model, because we can change the shape of all the data and it just adjusts to that automatically. As new data is added, it's mapped immediately. And we'll talk about that later. But once you kind of know what you're doing, if you're only going to do autocomplete or something and only on one field, you could just set that up and it's going to be much more performant. So all I did was create the index here. And then once I create the index, what do I want to show? Now I'm going to go to, can you let the dog out, please?
Yeah.
Sorry. She complains in every stream. I don't know why I let her in, but she cries if she's not in.
Yes.
So this is Compass, by the way. So I said, oh, actually,
That didn't work.
so after we created the index, the last thing, she's not leaving, the last thing you want to do is, query via the dollar search operator inside the aggregation pipeline. If you're familiar with MongoDB and you've used our aggregation pipeline, it's a really nice way of sort of analyzing the data you have and reshaping the data you have. So the idea is that all your data goes in, it goes through these different stages, and with every stage you kind of shape and reshape, and then in the end you get what you want. Now, when you're using Atlas Search, you have to use the dollar search operator inside the aggregation pipeline, and it always goes as the first stage. But then you get so after you get your search results, then it fits automatically inside the aggregation pipeline. So if you're already familiar with how to do that, it's really, really easy for you to start doing these things. And then you can add on, so you get your search results and then you add on different aggregation operators to even fine tune and shape your results even more after that. So knowing all that, let's build our first aggregation and then we'll build the app. So here we are in Compass. I could also do this inside of Atlas, but we all have our ticks as developers, and this is my tick. So this is our documents. I'm going to go to aggregation. So inside of Atlas as well, they have this aggregation tab. It's an aggregation pipeline builder. And the nice thing is, let me start a new one here. Well, no, I might as well. No, well, too late. Already up. I should have closed this. But you see in the aggregation pipeline builder that I have a dollar search. Let me add another field here. So if I wanted to do this, I can pick any operator that I want to from there. So I can sort or whatever, add on to different stages here. But in this first stage, let me delete that real quick. So in this first stage, why are you not working?
You need to add the index.
No, actually, that's a really good point. Because I'm using the default index, but I do talk later about how I want to do this. So I think it was just that the results were up just a second ago. So let me try this again. Actually, you know what? I might as well just do a new one. Let's just do a new one. Abandon. So here I am in this one. So I'm going to let's do search. And then I don't like those. So we have these really helpful comments, but they just crowd me. So I'm going to do this. So after I do search stage, I do my text operator. I'm going to query for, I always query for scary movies. And I'm going to look inside did anyone suggest a movie to look for? Full plot.
No, not yet. But to be fair, we haven't asked.
If you guys want to see a movie, tell me what you want to see. Probably just scream that. So here's a simple one where I'm just searching for the word zombies. This is my query inside of my full plot field, and then you'll see all these things. If I wanted to get those highlights back, actually, I'm going to add a highlight. And so there I have all these things, and I should see. Now these are all returned to me, and then I have a lot of, once I do this search, I don't need all those fields. So I'm going to project to get just the fields back I want. And there's also something else I really like about project.
Before you go any further, do you want to elaborate on what the highlight field actually accomplishes?
Oh, I'll show you in a second. Do you remember how it showed the bright yellow thing? You need to do that if you're going to see what the highlight is. So highlight means I want to find the word zombies inside the full plot field here, and highlight says, tell me when I see it. And I'll show you that in a second. So project, let's go ahead and do title. Actually, I really don't want to type all this out. Let me just, because I'm late. Good. Okay, so I get back just the fields I want, the title, the year, the full plot. And then, you know what, $1,000 says Nick is going to complain about not being able to see the stuff I have. Let me make that a little bit bigger. So, so I say what fields I want. I take out the object ID just because it also crowds me. But score. So this is nice because you get this meta projection operator, which will say I'm adding a field score, and search brings back all sorts of metadata back with it. So we get the stuff about the scores that we mentioned and the highlights. And then you could see here that this is going to return the movies to us with the score in descending order. So we get the best matched movies first. So remember, and then here are the highlights. Highlights is an array of different objects, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But now, because I get the best matched movies first, and I have 23,000 movie documents, this is going to take a long time. But since I get the best ones first, I don't need all of them. So let me just limit them to the top. Oh no, let's limit them to the top 12. 12 might be a lot, but whatever. So, and there you have, I have this stage, and actually, just for fun, I'll show you how to do 3. So here I have the top 3 movies about zombies. So, in the last one I did, Indiana high school basketball. I should have done sports movie. Should have done boxers or something. So now that I have that done, the nice thing is, hi Grace, 795. Went to college with a guy named Grace once. So the nice thing is, inside of the aggregation pipeline builder, inside of Compass, and this also exists inside of Atlas, again, is you can pick the language. So this is that aggregation that I just built up. And this is the language that I can pick. I can pick all these languages, include import statements. You know, I could talk about, that's a different stream. I get distracted. So I'm going to keep that here for a second. Now let's go back to, so now that I know what my aggregation looks like, so I have this search index created on my thing. I built the aggregation that I like. Let's go back. Here's my search. So I have, now I'm going to create an API that my application is going to call. So the application is simply going to call an API. I have, these are all my realm applications. So I created a realm application to do this. It's our serverless backend. We talk a lot about that. And if you have questions, we'll definitely take it offline. But the first thing I do, I have nothing inside this app. It's empty. So I'm going to add a service to it to create that API. We're integrated with all sorts of different services, including like all the AWS APIs and stuff like that. But for the ATP, I'm going to create an HTTP service. Are you telling me something? Coder Network. An intimidating name. So I'm going to create a new webhook. I'm going to call this get basic. This is my webhook URL. It's simply a get. Let me go to my function editor. Every time I say I'm going to do this really fast. So inside the function editor, you see you start off, it gives you code right off the bat, and really helpful comments. But just to make it simple, I'm going to show what we do. The first thing I do is inside of this function for it, I get my movies collection. So movies here is a constant, which is hooked up to the movies collection inside of our sample influx database that has all those 23,000 movies. And the argument is what the payload gets back once I hit the API endpoint. Now, once I have that movies collection, I'm going to run an aggregation on that collection and return. So I did the back end and I sent stuff to the front end to Tommy. And so I'm returning Tommy an array. Let me go grab. I always forget how to do this.
To elaborate on that, I was involved in the front end that we're about to see, which is what she means by sending me data. So
for the soccer one,
yeah,
I do some programming on my own. Sorry. So this is the movies. The nice thing is inside of Atlas, where we were creating this, is that I can actually put this in here, and I have this console at the bottom so I can see if it works. And so now I can see that it actually does return movie documents. But the problem is it only returns movie documents about zombies. And because I want the arg that's returned from the payload here, I'm going to change that to arg. Let's save it. Okay, let's review and deploy. Oh, okay, deploy. Now, I'll show you guys something. Now, if I get this API endpoint and put it in here, what do you want to watch a movie about? Batman?
Let's do it. You can also execute that in the console as well. That's in Realm. So.
So you see here, this is what the front end gets back from that API call. It looks like any other API. So what I did was I have a very basic, and I'm going to give this away in my blog for the very basic movie, but this is it's all in one file. My index.html, I have the CSS, I have everything in there. And so I'm going to take that API endpoint, and it goes right here. Darn it. Added this. And let's save it. Move it back. And that should be hooked up to this. Did anybody say anything about what movies they want to see? Nobody wants to pick a movie.
You can ask Marcus. Marcus, what movie do we want to look up?
I think the
Warriors?
Good Will Hunting.
Well, that's a title, and I'm only looking for plot.
Oh, so I would say
A movie about.
Genius.
Genius.
Okay.
So now we have movies that happen to have genius a lot in the full plot field, or any other thing that we want to do. Aussie always does cats and dogs. I'm like, who's going to watch a movie about cats and dogs? But genius is better. Let's see if I mentioned Indiana high school basketball, so I want to see. I'm so bad at typing when people are looking. And there you go, Hoosiers is number one. I knew that already.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's my test case. So, anyway.
Wow.
Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I love it.
I think we need to have a Hoosiers viewing party. So anyway, so that's the basic Hello World app.
I think what's more shocking is not the score for Hoosiers, but how there's multiple movies about Indiana high school basketball.
Apparently, there's lots of movies about Indiana high school basketball. So again, there'll be a blog about how to get that demo next week. But if you go to our community and you go to our blogs and you go to all our stuff, and I've given this talk, Marcos was like, how many times have you given this talk? I've given a talk like this for like a year and a half now.
You want to do one more?
What's the other one?
We got bank robbers in the chat.
Bank robbers? Is that 2 words or 1?
It's going to be 2.
Okay.
I'm just curious to see
what's
going to pop up. Yeah.
I'm telling you, the problem when you do this is like you just get distracted about like how funny. Look at that. Drive is pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So
thanks for the recommendation. Who is that? Shane?
This is
Shane Macy.
Okay. So anyway, I was really sick about doing movies. I mean, do you really get sick about doing movies? It just felt like whatever. So we built this soccer app, and Tommy's super into soccer. Like, this is our family. Like, they're really into soccer. This my Tommy's dad is German, so he has big German fans.
Hence the bottom right corner.
But I think we're bigger French fans. By the way, I'm not really a fan of soccer. I don't really understand soccer. So so Gabe Neisweiler thinks it's funny because I'm from Rockwell, Texas. I don't know anything about, like, this is football to me, but in Germany and France it's football. So anyway, we thought we would do this app about soccer, finding the right soccer players, because with such an international family and stuff, I never know how to spell anyone's names, and even today we're like, like we couldn't find, like when we're filling out our team, we couldn't find it. So with that said, let's go into your app. So
Let's do it.
let me close this. I always go. There are only two ways. I don't know why I get it wrong every time.
Zoolander can't go left, huh?
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll give it to you now.
I'm gonna stop you from. There we go. All right. So. Right now we have this React front end, so a traditional application that is going to be interacting with your with the backend, so Realm, and we might as well just get started. So, not sit on ceremony here. What we have right now is going to be a team of soccer players. So, chat, if you want to recommend any soccer player that has a difficult name, shoot, go for it. I'll start us off with the first one. I'm going to go test out one of the functionalities here. So I believe we want to go with Wildcard, right, for Szczęsny?
Yeah, hold on just a second. I want to answer this. That's rad, Cullen. You're asking about, is there a way about using webhooks as a REST API to get your response back without the fields being returned as objects with data types? Because he's always getting the object ID. The object ID comes with every MongoDB document. So what I did in mine, because we have such a, like in the soccer one, this one we have about 90 different fields. I don't want all those fields. Tommy doesn't want all those fields. He doesn't want to clutter, and we don't want our application users to get all those fields. So I projected in only the fields I want. So if you only want their name, you say name, :1. And I always take out object ID just because I don't, most of the time, well, not always, sometimes I need it. But if you want to remove that, then you do inside of the $project, you do $ID like object or _ID : 0. So that'll remove it from your payload. And so you can just pick the fields you want.
And you're normally going to want to do that because the less data you send over the network, the faster it gets sent to your application. So
yeah, $project. Thanks, Marcus. Marcus for peace. Marcus, if you're on this our Marcus Eagan, he's on the he's chatting as Marcus for peace. So
I think
you can ask some questions there. So you want to show the team that we have now? Did you?
I already did, but we can go take a look at it again. So right now, what we're going to need is a goalkeeper. We're going to need an outside back, right back, a midfielder, and then an outside midfielder, outside wing. And I was going to start us off with a goalkeeper, and then if any of you guys in the chat wanted to recommend some players, like I said, shoot.
Yeah, and you can write it, and I won't tell him how you spell it, because I'm looking on this machine.
So right now I'm going to test out Wildcard. So do you want to talk about Wildcard for a little bit, or?
Oh, so in this demo, this first part of the demo, we do. Am I screaming? We do 3 different API endpoints. Do you show the endpoints? We've got basic, which is when we put in something, get what we want, but we don't actually do that. We get autocomplete. We have fuzzy matching. So fuzzy matching is when you kind of misspell something, and it forgives you for it. And wildcard is when I don't. Here, let me play this, by the way. Wildcard is when I don't have any idea how to spell it. Like there's a big blurb of the word, or how to type it. For instance, a lot of these players, they have letters with accents and things. I don't, like a C with an I don't know how to do that. So, or the thing in Portuguese. So when I get to things like that, I'll use wildcard, and that just means, you see how Tommy has SZC.
I really hope I'm getting it right, because the second letter is either a C or a Z. So
Marcus, does the wildcard, does that star operator, does that cover up to 7 letters? Is that right?
For the search?
Yeah. I think it'll cover, like, if you don't know how to spell, like there could be up to 7 letters in there that I don't know. Let me play this real quick, by the way.
Yeah.
So this is what I deal with when I talk to my family about soccer. I was just in Spain, and there was this guy from Poland, and I was asking about the famous Polish soccer players. His name is Mike. So
Okay, so Jakub Błaszczykowski, Jan Bednarek, Łukasz Fabiański, Grzegorz Krychowiak, Łukasz Piszczek, Bartosz Bereszyński, Artur Jędrzejczak, Kamil Grosicki, Bartłomiej Drągowski, Piotr Zieliński, and Sebastian Szymański.
So the only thing I got out of that was Sebastian.
Listening out, all I got out of that was that Polish names are It's gonna be the theme for this one.
Well, then we'll just use Poland.
So let's see what we get for this one. Testing out Wildcard. Whoops. Oh, there we go. So I got exactly who I was looking for. A goalkeeper. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. Wojciech, you want to pull that up? He said it again.
No, it's okay.
We'll add him to the team.
I won't even recognize it.
So he's gonna go in at goalkeeper right now. Do you want to check the chat and see if
Wojciech.
we have any recommendations?
Do a ski for the last name. There was a player that had ski. Remember Błaszczykowski?
Yeah.
So Adrian wants. Oh, I think Ivan Perisic is easy.
There are some accents in that one. I'm pretty sure he's
Perisic,
Croatian.
But I like the you had
Jakub.
Evaly. We have to do him because he was super helpful on Wednesday. MK.
Oh,
I bet you know who that is.
Mkhitaryan. He wants to look at Mkhitaryan. Yeah.
These better be good players.
Can you tell me? So
you
put MK
He
star.
said MK star YAN.
YN. So this is going to be on Wildcard. So we have Henrik Mkhitaryan right there.
Where's he from?
He is from Armenia.
Oh.
I think he's the only Armenian player that I know. Nice jersey, Marcus.
Thank you.
Represent. We'll put him right here in the midfielder.
Cool.
And then anyone else?
I liked. So Adrian suggested somebody with a ski on the end. Do we need to do autocomplete?
We should test out autocomplete as
Oh,
well.
we gotta do Mbappe. Do you have Mbappe in there?
No, we don't. And we'll add Mbappe. Do you want to?
We'll do Mbappe for autocomplete. Wait, stop at NBA. Look how many players start with an NBA. Crazy. So anyway.
So I could actually, so autocomplete, click on who you want, and then you can submit it, and boom, Kylian Mbappe pops up. Look at that.
That's
So,
for
Great.
when,
do you want to show off the swag, Mom? Turn around. that's why we picked Mbappe.
he is adorable.
So
He has COVID.
he did have COVID. way to bring down the mood.
Sorry. I'm so worried about him though.
We have one more that we should show off, and that's going to be fuzzy matching. So
Fuzzy matching.
we need to pick an
We
outside
need to
back
misspell somebody.
and misspell.
I can't even start to spell Blaszczykowski. You want to try and spell Blaszczykowski? You can misspell.
I don't even think I'll get close enough for. I don't think fuzzy matching
think
will
it's
even be able to help me here.
Well, actually, let's do it anyway. BLAC, and then do the star.
No, you can't.
You're
It's
gonna
fuzzy
get it
matching.
wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I butchered the name completely. So
Marcus, did you have a guess for the spelling?
No, I don't have a guess for a spelling, but it's gonna be hard to find
That
that.
one I would have done,
Yeah.
but I do think it ended in an I.
I think it ended in an I. I might have put a Y. But
We'll do that and then do the star just so we can show how easy it is to find. What's his name again?
But is star gonna go fuzzy
Just do
matching?
Wildcard. No, do Wildcard.
I thought we were trying to show off. Okay, never mind.
No, but it's a quest.
So
It's a quest at this point.
Oh, but he has a weird L. I know this.
Oh.
He's got the weird L, so I'm just gonna do.
Didn't even know there was such a thing as a
Yeah.
weirdo.
Is it SKI?
And he's from.
it's
And he's from Poland, so actually we can
Poland.
save ourselves
We
here.
were gonna do filters later, but I think he's.
He's right there. We got him. Okay, well we'll put him way out of position because why not? Actually, he says he's a right back as well. So
We got Lewandowski
Jakub
and
Błaszczykowski.
put Mbappe right there, Mom.
Lewandowski.
Oh, we have two Mbappes. Look at that.
If
Actually,
only.
let's test
What about
Ocelot.
Ribéry?
What were you saying, Marcus?
Well, I was saying, what about Ribéry?
Oh, Franck Ribéry.
Is he still playing?
Yeah, he does. And let's put him in. Do you wanna
He's
drive?
from Marseille. No, you drive.
Should I try to
He always yells at
misspell
me.
his name?
You can't misspell it. It's too easy. Just kidding. You can misspell
If
it
I do
actually because
Ribéry
that's
like
how
this.
you. Yeah.
Fuzzy matching.
There you go.
I got someone else, but
Rivera.
right. I mean, it works, but yeah. So
I actually said.
So if you try to, if you have
Do
two misspellings,
MESI.
yeah.
MESI.
Yeah.
So maybe
So.
Actually, I
So-
need to be off of autocomplete. We're going fuzzy matching here.
Oh.
So MESI. Check this out.
So I keep cutting. Is he there? Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, he's right
So
here.
we misspelled him and got him.
Who should I replace?
The reason.
I'll replace you. Sorry.
So we have, and I'll show you the operator in a second. Oh, we can go.
Get in the camera.
I think I'm done. Okay. So That's enough. So I'll show you why we probably didn't get Ribéry when I wanted to get Ribéry. Hey Marcus, did you see the World Cup where it was like at the end after Zidane got kicked out and Ribéry had a super easy, I'm not sure how easy it was, but he missed it and they could have won?
Trezeguet. That was not Ribéry.
I think you're mistaken.
Okay.
No, it was definitely Trezeguet.
What was it,
Ribéry
2006?
That was 2006.
Well, I got the year right. So anyway.
It's the effort that counts. Thank you.
So we were missing when we did Ribéry and we misspelled him on purpose. I don't actually know how to spell Ribéry. But so you see here, what I wanted to point out, this is the query we did for fuzzy matching. It's again text, query, path, just like we did before, but we added this fuzzy operator. And I set max edits. In this example, I set max edits to 2.0. But in my API endpoint, I set max edits to 1.0, that means, actually, Marcus, why don't you talk about why we would use 2.0 and 1.0 for this?
Yeah. So it's based on the Levenstein edit distance. So we're trying to determine how many single characters we have to change from the original query to get to the query that was intended. And we do it in memory very fast in Lucene. If you go beyond 2, it gets a lot slower for any system.
Mm-hmm.
But for Lucene and Atlas Search, 2 or 1 edit, Levenstein edit distance of 1 or 2, it's going to be extremely fast, very fast. Sub second for sure. Usually sub millisecond. So I think that it's a cool feature and it's some granularity. Some people, there's a lot of commonality between these names in FIFA, so some people might want to be more restrictive and limit it to only one.
That's why I did.
One edit in the max edits parameter.
Right. I had 2.0 and I was getting like all sorts of crazy answers, so I changed it to 1.0, but then I lost Ribéry. I'll sacrifice him. That's fine. What do I do
For
here?
you developers out there, Levenstein, that word should ring a bell.
I'll make it my new password.
That was a tough question.
The wildcard query that we did, again, we did the search. The operator is wildcard instead of text, which is what we did. Query, path, and then
Schweinsteiger.
well, he's not in the 20 data set.
Oh, and it wouldn't have been a good one.
By the way, I knew that. So I'm happy about it. And allow analyze fields. You want to talk a little bit about analyze fields, Marcus, or it's in our documentation? But if you get passionate,
I'm not too passionate about it, but analyze fields are going to be. I'm getting notifications. And analyze fields are going to be fields that are treated the way that you specified them, right? And tokenized in the way that you've specified to tokenize them, or filtered in the way that you want to filter them. Yeah. So, Schweinsteiger, you could configure. I'm sorry? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I actually probably should move on because I really want you to talk about the custom indexes in a second. But I just wanted to point out the allow analyze field here because I didn't get wildcard to work until I put that in there. So wildcard is the operator. Schweinsteiger is the player, Bastian Schweinsteiger, even though he's now retired. And then for autocomplete type ahead, the last stream I did, we've changed the operator for that. And so the operator here, now I want to point out the operator here is autocomplete, just like the operator in the last one was wildcard. But the interesting thing here is the index I created, and I've put in a special index for that. In that button where we created an index, you can create multiple indexes to use different things. And as Marcus suggested in the beginning, that when you do these search stages, you can specify which index you want to use. And when I did the dynamic mapping, I was like, just set it as default. So if you're using the default index, you don't have to put it in there, or you could put index default if you wanted to. But if you're going to use autocomplete, then you need to create an autocomplete index. And so this is what my autocomplete index looks like for this one. Dynamic is true, which means I've mapped all my fields. But then on the name field, so I have last name, first name, whatever, I also created that as the type, autocomplete, and then the other stuff in there. So so I created that index, and then I used it in addition to the other index, the default index. Actually, I could probably, I could just make this my default index, but it's a heavy index, weighs a lot. So we'll talk about indexes really fast. Indexes and analyzers, and then we'll get back to building out our team. But indexes and analyzers, let's say that our documents ID 1 and 2, and these are our sentences. For a standard analyzer, for whatever this term is, every time you see this term, it's going to match. So the with the capital T shows up in doc 1, brown, that way it shows up in doc 2. And the simple analyzer, it stems, it makes it, and we put that in. So it shows, you can see the difference in the documents that it returns up based on the word that you're looking for. So you can pick different analyzers. We use these analyzers. We have all sorts of different analyzers we'll talk about in a second. We have analyzers on different languages and analyzers we also have keyword analyzer, which is really strict, like exactly this term, exactly this letter that you could use. So you decide what analyzer you want and you use it when you define your index. Remember when I press that button, I just hit enter, but I could create that index definition there. So it takes text, it turns it into terms, feeds it into Lucene. So this was the index I created, the default index that maps everything dynamically. But we can map statically, which we probably should have done in the soccer one because we don't need an index on all those fields. We don't need to search across all those fields. And you can see here in this index definition that I put in the analyzer that I wanted to use here. And this is another index definition we have. You can see that it's an index created on 3 specific fields. I use 3 specific types of analyzers here. And then on the title field, I actually use multi because I want to use my Lucene analyzer and my Lucene keyword analyzer. So if you want to use different analyzers on it, you combine it with multi. Marcus, you want to, and then Marcus, what are the other like common indexes and things that you could do with analyzers? You'd mentioned you could create a custom analyzer.
Yeah. So you can create a custom analyzer. That's a common one. If you have certain tokens that you want indexed, like there may be, like for example, if you have molecular chemical formula you want to index the elements and their atomic number, or that may be the amount of molecules in a compound. Another example is for the players, you may want to, in the FIFA roster, we may want to index the positions as terms. Like PG is not a word in English, or I mean CB is not a word in English, but it's a word in soccer or in football parlance.
Oh, yeah.
So we want to treat all the positions as their own words, all the abbreviations of the positions as their own words even.
So that is a way of doing something that's super specific for the type of application
Yeah.
that you want to do.
Yep.
Cool.
And then another big one is, so we have these language analyzers. So if you want to do autocomplete for one language, you may want to specify that language in your autocomplete. But the main thing is custom analyzers open the world for you. You can do lots of things. So try them out. They're in the product.
Flexibility for a developer. So what I want to drive home is we have support for all sorts of different analyzers, even custom analyzers. Those go inside of your index definitions, and your index definitions go inside of your aggregation queries, inside of that search thing. You could be the top line of the search thing. So that's all I want to take away from there. Now, we did autocomplete fuzzy wildcard, which should make everybody super thrilled. But in the movie one, but actually I want to do some more stuff. So when we're showing the team, let me show the team again. So this is our team. So where's the player? Oh yeah. So yeah. So when we're showing the team before, the last time we did the stream, I got chewed out because I was kind of hard on Italians because I'm not crazy about Italians, and there's no reason really why I'm not crazy about Italians. I have no reason not to be crazy. And so I got the feedback like, cool it. And so I thought about this application. I thought, well, who can I dislike as much as Italians? And nobody even comes close. So we're going to go into some more advanced
context there. I feel like I need to provide some context because you're very counterproductive.
I love
in your
Italians.
apology.
I love Italians.
That was a terrible apology.
I'm sorry.
The context behind this was the 2006 World Cup. So she's wearing a France jersey, and they lost to Italy. That's where this all spawned from. So it was just one big joke.
It's not a joke.
I'm trying to help you here.
And they beat Germany. So they beat France and Germany on the way to win everything. And then this one in the top, that happened in the semifinals of it. But if there's anything good...
Happened in the final.
Okay. Did we do this on the last stream? Yes. I thought, well, whatever. But I was in Italy when they were doing the kind of warm-up matches, and Italy played the U.S.
That's a group stage, yeah.
In the group stage, and the whole day as Americans, you go around and they're we all know that U.S. is going to get stomped by Italy, and we tied. And Italy was so mad. And so all the American tourists were going around that night. Nobody was saying a word. We were just not talking. My husband and I were only speaking French. We're like, okay, we're French now because we just felt this sort of don't be an American in Italy at the moment. But anyway, that's what I took away from 2006 and this killer header. So let's go back to the app and let Tommy finish building out the team. Figure out which way to go. God, I'm waiting every time. So remove the Italian guy.
So for the record, we love Chiellini. We're going to remove him, and then we're going to add a different center back. So, any recommendations in the chat or by Marcus?
Sergio.
I was actually going to pick him, so there we go.
It's fine.
Would you want to do autocomplete, fuzzy matching? It's kind of hard to fuzzy match him, so let's just. I wonder if this will.
Actually, I think I put autocomplete.
I don't, because that's his first name.
Yeah, no, actually, I put autocomplete on the full name.
On the full name?
Oh.
There are a lot of Ramoses here.
Do Sergio then.
I'm just gonna. Oh, he pops up right there, Sergio. I had a feeling that his last name was Ramos Garcia.
Yeah,
That's the
well,
other
Ramos is difficult anyway because in this case we're doing edgegrams, which is left to right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for languages that are left to right, it makes sense to do edgegram in many cases. But in the soccer case, some people might argue that that n-grams themselves are good because some queryers are going to type in the last name. They're going to write Messi or Ronaldo or Ronaldinho. So it just depends.
In that case, it might actually be helpful. You could keep it normal, but to send the query to last name rather than full name.
Yeah.
If that's popular.
Or change the autocomplete tokenizer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you.
So we replaced Chiellini with Sergio Ramos from Real Madrid.
Cool. So let's go back and name it. So Marcus, name a country. Go back and. You want to show how you.
Belarus. No, not Belarus. Portugal.
No, don't pick anybody we didn't support.
Exclude?
Portugal.
Let's do include.
Because there's no excluding.
Oh, okay.
So.
So we want to find a player from where?
Portugal.
Portugal. Thank you for keeping it simple.
a good. So we show those APIs, but now we can really fine tune what we want because we want only players from Portugal. You could pick out a super skill level. So this is searching across text Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't we do a skill level? See if there are any
really
players.
Good players. Let's try to get Ronaldo in here. So.
Oh, I think he's 93.
So I'm just gonna go high overall. We can keep the rest the same. If I really wanted to narrow down, I can go skill modes and he would definitely pop up. But we'll just do Portugal.
You don't.
No, I don't.
You only have two.
So yeah, we have.
You didn't even put in a name.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Bernardo Silva. Didn't know that would pop up. Oh yeah, he's Portuguese, yeah. And then Cristiano Ronaldo.
So 87 and 93, and we don't have any players less than that because we filtered them out. So, and I guess that's our team. And then, so we could pick that, and then maybe you could pick a club. Marcus and Tommy, or Tom, sorry, their favorite club is Arsenal. You want to pick somebody from Arsenal? Just to fun, and then
Sure.
we'll go back
Yeah,
to
I'll just go ahead and put. Ronaldo
we went
down
Sterling.
right here. Sterling he's not Arsenal.
I don't know why I said that.
So
To belong.
we'll do clubs right here. Arsenal's at the top.
That's for Everly.
It's where we usually start off. And then
they work their way down through the season.
That's funny. But the man, I'm wearing this man's jersey.
Look at that.
Lacazette right here. And boom, he pops up. I don't have an
Well,
idea.
we knew he was
But-
going to pop up. But we put him there. Oh, now we got him. That's okay. We don't have an image in. That's okay. Okay, so let's go back to the thing. So let's wrap it up. So we're pretty much at an hour. So I'm gonna. Oh shoot! I always go the wrong way. That. So what we saw was we were able to. I showed you autocomplete and fuzzy matching, but we were able to combine them with filters and certain operators. Gosh, I hate when I have everything misaligned with the compound operator. So inside your search stage, you can do a compound operator, and I can show you. Actually, let me show that anyway. So if I do this is my realm map, body services. So by the way, to build this, I only had 3 different endpoints or something like that. This one's practice. So I had 4 different endpoints to build this. So for instance, if we let's go to fuzzy because I think fuzzy is the easiest. So in my API endpoint, this is actually all the code for it, but I get to build up all these different stages. So this is like the text operator. When I go across clubs, I also use text operator. Where are my numbers? Oh, so when I do skill set or overall stage, when I query across numbers, I use the range operator. So I can do all these different numbers. I created that based on what the application sends back to me. And then I got that from the payload query. And then I pushed them for every of those things I got back in the payload query. I created a search stage and I pushed it onto my search operator using the compound operator. So Manatee Man. I have everybody has really good fish names. Thanks for following, Manatee Man. We're at an hour, yay, almost barely, and we used all of this stuff to do all the things that we wanted to do. We showed movies, we showed soccer players, we showed really complicated spelling and filters and things we wanted to do. So I'm just going to finish up with search because with the architecture of how we built it, so you understand a little bit of it. You understand how this affects the performance of your application. So as you mentioned, MongoDB combined with Lucene to do this, and we talk about all the different functionalities we get from that, the different analyzers, and then we talked about, MongoDB runs as B-tree indexes, but search uses an inverted index. And that means it's really fast for searches. Oh no, sorry, Marcus. So this is old. It should say search aggregation pipeline stage. So we have MongoD. Before we had MongoD and we had MongoS, which we're not using for this. MongoS is for sharding. But then we created a MongoT system. And the MongoT now sits on top of the nodes that you have for Mongo. And it shares a lot of those resources, but it is on the same node. And that's why it's important to, figure out how you want to run your indexes and stuff because they're all competing for the same resource. So once you create that index, you're going to send a query to MongoD. You create the index and it uses an automation agent. You press the button and it uses it automated to talk to MongoT. And now it's getting in sync with all your data. It's scanning all your collections that has that collection and it's mapping them while it's mapping on it for the collection scan. And once the collection scan is complete, then it can, then you're able to query onto these fields. you're not going to get anything back until you have that search index created. But once you have that search index created, the documents can send to MongoD, and the MongoD, so as you're inserting documents into your database collection, if you're mapping dynamically, your MongoT the change stream is always listening onto the MongoD, and your MongoT is listening for the change stream. And then once you add a new document in MongoD, then it gets added to your index, search index automatically and updated. So you send a query here. Okay, Marcus, thanks for joining. You can bounce if you need to go. I know it's the top of the hour, and I really appreciate you making that extra time for us. So you make the query on MongoDB. I'll let you say bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Marcus.
How do you spell that? so you send the aggregation call. The app will send Tom will send the app to MongoD. That's not speaking. Goes over wire protocol. MongoD gets that aggregation, and MongoT hears it, and it says, "Look, there's a search operator there." So I give me that part of the aggregation pipeline that you have. So we take that and we look for the word Star Wars in the path, and then we find where Star Wars is in these documents. So that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's your object ID for the documents. So MongoT gets back your object IDs and your metadata. Remember, I mentioned scoring and highlighting. So those are the only things it gets, and it sends that back to MongoD. Now MongoD has the object ID, and it'll do a lookup to find those entire documents, gather those entire documents inside MongoD, and then it'll finish the aggregation that you have with the project and limit and sorting, whatever you want to do after that, and it sends that back to the app. And that's how it works. That's architecture in a nutshell. So all sorts of data types, text, numerical dates, geolocations, which I didn't talk about. Run Apache 8. If you already know the MongoDB query language, it is in alignment with that, so you don't have to learn anything new to start using it. Lots of query operators. I showed you compound and how you can use them together. Configurable indexes and analyzers, custom analyzers. You could search for basically anything. And flexible scoring and highlights. Boy, we talked about scoring so long ago. Is that the same stream? And that's it. That's all I have. Anybody have any?
No, I don't believe so. And I think you did touch on the fact that it's all encompassed in Atlas, which makes it really, really convenient to use.
Yes. So. I use Compass just because I like Compass. But all that stuff you could do inside of Atlas. You could build your aggregations. And you get that preview panel, so you know if you're in the right path. Before I had that aggregation pipeline builder, I would have it broken, and I wouldn't know until I executed it. So you could build that aggregation inside of your preview, and then just grab it from that button, like copy to code, click to code, put it inside your function like we did, and that's it. Marcus is smiling. That's actually a good photo for him to say goodbye on.
I think that wraps it up.
Thanks
for tuning in, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Again, I wanted to give one more tiny thing, if I could. Go to, I wanted to show you guys one more thing. I'm on the wrong thing. I mentioned that I'm doing this blog. Why am I here? I mentioned that I'm doing this blog. There we go. So I'm doing this blog, and it's going to come out hopefully next week. And it's going to be on our Dev Hub, on our Developer Hub. So if you go to developermongodb.com, if you liked, what we had to say, and you want to learn more stuff about this or any of our technologies, I should have a blog going out about GraphQL. But we have like Nick, NRA boy, has lots of blogs coming out all the time where you could learn stuff and steal his code. I steal his code all the time from these things. Come to developermongodb.com to learn. But on top of that, join our community, and you can post questions there. You could answer questions there. You can meet other developers. We're on, every day. So there's a whole bunch of us on, and we can start talking and sharing ideas and finding a better path forward, more optimized developer path forward together. So check out, in addition to Atlas Search, let me know what you think. Let us know what you think, and check out the Developer Hub. So thanks. I guess I'll stop. Say bye, Tom.
Bye, guys. Thank you.